I'm sure by now you all have seen the different media outlets' predictions regarding the 2025 F1 season. Which team's car looks fast and which team's car looks like a tractor. I'm looking at you, Sauber. I refuse to call it Steak F1 Kick Sauber, because that's just a dumb name. Damn it, I just called it Steak F1 Kick Sauber. Ugh. Anyways, so how do these media outlets analyze the data behind preseason testing and make their predictions? And are these predictions actually correct? To answer this question, let's first look at the different factors that affect an F1 car's lap time on track. So first and foremost, the tires. The thing that actually makes the car go round and round the track. The softer the tire, the quicker the lap time. Simple stuff. But Pirelli makes available all the compounds for the teams to test. So some teams may test the hardest compound, whereas others test softer compounds. Some test used tires, others test new tires to gauge their tire life. All of this makes it difficult to normalize each team's performance on a single set of tire. Next we have track conditions, namely track temperature, wind direction, speed, surface conditions, etc. F1 cars are really sensitive to wind because of all of the wings and fins and fancy sticky yuppie bits on the cars. The other factor is track temperature, which affects how cars warm up their tires as well as tire degradation. So any changes to these factors also proves to be a major challenge. Third, we have fuel loads. The heavier the car due to fuel, the slower the lap time. This is tricky again because during testing, teams vary their fuel loads in the car to test performance at different car weights. And we don't know what fuel loads each team has on every lap. So again, makes like-for-like comparison extremely difficult. And then we have engine modes as well. Again, something we don't know as a spectator, but can vary the performance of the car significantly. Higher the engine mode equals higher performance and a quicker lap time. And lastly, we got track evolution. As the cars make their way around the track over and over again, they lay down rubber on the track, which makes the track more grippier and stickier and helps lower the lap time because the driver is more confident to push the car in the corners. So comparing different lap times set during different phases of the testing session wouldn't account for the lap time change due to track evolution. And that makes things, again, tricky. So how do we keep all of these factors constant and assess true performance of the cars? So for that, I picked the race simulation runs done by different teams during a very similar time of the day. So this way, it ensures that the track conditions remain pretty similar throughout the race sims, and everyone is filling up their tank to the brim to last the full race distance. And regarding engine modes, you can expect the teams to run the highest setting during race simulations to ensure highest stress on the engine to gauge reliability. So then you have constant engine modes, you got constant track conditions, and then everyone is running the same fuel loads. So we have quite a bit of constancy over here. But as you can see over here, Norris started his race sim a little bit earlier than Leclerc and Antonelli. So he might look faster due to him carrying less fuel loads. So I adjusted the plot to normalize for fuel load. And so here we look at the plot with the normalized fuel load. Now this gives us a better picture of each team's pace, but it's still not perfect. All three drivers did their first stints on the C3 tire, but Norris did his second stint on C1 tires, whereas Leclerc and Antonelli did theirs on C2 tires. So that again offers some kind of lap time differential that we need to account for. So normalizing for the tires for Norris, now we have a better picture and can clearly see that Norris is slightly a step ahead of the rest. Now taking in a zoomed in view, we can see that in the third stint, Norris is way quicker than Leclerc or Antonelli. But does this mean that McLaren are favorites for the season? Potentially, but what we do know is that in lower temperatures and on this track that has equal proportion of low, medium, and high-speed corners, McLaren seem to have the upper hand. But the first race of the season, this time, is in Australia, not Bahrain. And Albert Park has a completely different characteristic. That track is predominantly low-speed corners and different temperature profiles. And Red Bull is a complete dark horse, since we haven't seen any concrete race pace from it during testing. So if it's Bahrain, then yeah, McLaren might have it in the bag. But in Australia, I think the win could be anyone's for the taking. I think all of these predictions that all the race media outlets are doing might be good for Bahrain, but because the field is so closely bunched up, I think it's going to be really tough to pick a winner at the first race of the season.